Hi everyone, in this video I'll be doing Advent of Code 2021 Day 7. You'll see me doing the puzzles and then I'll be explaining them afterwards. As usual, the code will be in a GitHub repository, the link to which will be posted in the description below, so be sure to check that out. I've got all my files prepped here for a speedy coding session, so wish me luck, and let's get started. A giant whale has decided your submarine is its next meal, and it's much faster than you are. There's nowhere to run. Suddenly, a swarm of crabs, each in its own tiny submarine, it's too deep for them otherwise, zooms in to rescue you. They seem to be preparing to blast a hole in the ocean floor. Sensors indicate a massive underground cave system just beyond where they're aiming. The crab submarines all need to be aligned before they'll have enough power to blast a large enough hole for your submarine to get through. However, it doesn't look like they'll all be aligned before the whale reaches you. Maybe you can help? So, there's a bunch of crab submarines, and they're listed as their horizontal positions on like a singular x-axis, and your goal is to realign them together all somewhere on the axis so that they can all punch a hole through the ocean floor to get to the massive cave system, which I think will be a great addition to the story. So, the idea is that to move a crab from position X to position Y, it takes the distance between X and Y amount of fuel to move it. So for example, moving from 16 to 2 takes 14 fuel, and so on. So the question is, find a location on this axis such that it takes the minimum amount of fuel for all the crab submarines to all relocate to that position. So part 1 was relatively simple in my opinion. Okay, let me make this bigger now. Basically what we do here is we read in the input. It's a list of integers separated by commas, and it now seems that Advent of Code is using commas instead of new lines for big lists of integers, which wasn't the case for last year or actually for this year's this year's more recent puzzles. But I don't know, maybe I actually like this. It's more concise this way. So basically what we do is we just read in all of the positions of all the crabs, and then we loop through every single position. Wait, hang on. Oh, I did these in the same file. That's bad. Yeah, so the idea is we go through every single possible position for the crabs to relocate, and then we compute the required cost, so like the total amount of fuel that all of them have to use to get to that location, and then we simply sum it together and find the minimum of all those values. I actually messed up here because I thought the crabs can only relocate to a position a submarine is currently at. So actually what we have to do is go for a range that all the crabs can move to, because they can relocate to a spot that's already not occupied by a submarine. So that's the part I misinterpreted, and that actually cost me a few minutes for part 2, but it actually worked for part 1 for me just to consider the places the crabs are already at, which is incorrect. So I had to fix that really quickly. And then, yeah, that's basically it. We just take the minimum of all possible places they can relocate to. And then for part 2, the calculation is a bit more complicated. Basically what we have to do now is to move from location X to location Y. It actually takes X minus Y, absolute value, times X minus Y plus 1 over 2. The way they explain it is, that's actually a bit more contrived formula, but to move from position 6 to position 5, for example, 16 to 15 takes 1 fuel, 15 to 14 takes 2 fuel, 14 to 13 takes 3 fuel, and so on, as they explain right here. So every successive step that a crab takes to move towards the target position takes 1 more fuel than the previous one. And we can actually compute this more efficiently by taking the sum of the first n integers, where n is the distance between 2 points where the submarine has to move. So for example, moving from 1 to 5, that's moving 4 spaces. So to move 4 spaces, we simply have to do 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4, and that's the sum of the first 4 integers, first 4 positive integers, which we can compute using a handy-dandy formula, which is right here. If you don't know this formula, there's quite a nice proof for it. I might explain it right now, actually. Actually, no, I won't. I just suggest you look it up. Sum of first n positive integers. You should probably know this formula. It's quite useful. And then after that, we just basically do the same thing as part 1. We consider all possible target locations, and then we compute the required total fuel for all the crabs to get to that target location. And then we just take the minimum of all those possible required fuels and then print out the answer. So again, I misinterpreted the problem for part 2 and I had to fix that. But, overall, pretty good, I think. In terms of the story, I feel like the story is advancing quite a bit. I like that we're going to go into a cave system because, we can't just stay in the submarine and like be above the sea all December long. And you can see that we're going to emerge into a cave somewhere from these graphics. I also like how the map is like slowly filling in now. So like the day before, these waves were not completely filled in. So like, let's see if we go incognito, we can see that actually if you finish day 1, or like yesterday, the map was a bit different. So I like how these things change. It's quite cool. I also find it interesting that a whale would try to eat our submarine, since whales are like herbivores or something, or like they only eat krill or something. I don't know, but I'm surprised they would try to eat our submarine. I wouldn't be surprised if the whale appears later and is actually an evil whale. So that'd be interesting. But crabs have also appeared last year with the crab game one. That was an interesting puzzle. Maybe I'll link to it above. And yeah, all in all, story's interesting. The puzzle is quite fun. I think it was a good one to do for a day where I decided to shoot for the leaderboard. So yeah, I'm quite satisfied for my first day seriously shooting at the leaderboard. I probably would have gotten much higher if I didn't misread the problem. So yeah, I'll probably leave all the unedited footage in there and add a bit in the beginning explaining what happens. So yeah, if I actually try to shoot for the global leaderboard, I'm going to have to get like more than 200 points, which I find unlikely, but maybe I'll make it. I'll continue shooting for the leaderboard in days going forward, so maybe I'll make it. So yeah, that's pretty much it for today's Advent of Code video. I hope you enjoyed today's puzzles and the video itself. Today was quite a good puzzle, series of puzzles for brute forcing stuff, because we had to brute force some stuff in here. Thank you for watching. I'll see you tomorrow for day 8.